An election on the horizon as the world wrestles with a pandemic, the political division between parties descending into shouting matches and shootouts, anarchists and nationalists clashing in the streets, a not thoroughly tested vaccine being rushed to production to be ready as an October surprise, foreign governments attacking our voting process. It sounds like the plot of a Hollywood thriller, but it's not. It's the election year 2020, and it's happening right now. Will you be prepared if violence erupts across America? Do you have what you need? In this video, we'll address the coming election and provide you a few practical things to do before the election to make sure you aren't caught off guard and you are prepared to survive what could be the most volatile election of our lifetime. Please consider subscribing to our newsletter to give you updates and membership-specific content. Visit www.cityprepping.com/newsletter or click on the link in the description and comments section below to subscribe today. Enjoy the video. Number 1. An October surprise or election surprises. Why is this election different than previous elections? Extremists in both parties believe that the other party winning will result in the death of democracy. One side feels the other will bring fascism. The other believes a win will result in socialism or communism. The likelihood of a peaceful, calm, and uncomplicated voting process is less than the very likely armed conflicts that may occur on Election Day and afterwards in pockets throughout the United States. You may already feel the tension building in your area. Any conflicts may disrupt normal processes. If anything in 2020 can still be considered normal. Stores could run out of items and the economy could slide down further, causing wide-scale panic buying. And don't forget to be prepared for whatever natural disasters you still face. Those aren't going away either. In American politics, an October surprise is an intentionally crafted and timely maneuvered media event to attract or distract the voters and influence an election result, especially for the U.S. presidential race. It's become a staple of American politics. This year, however, I think people have had enough surprises, from wildfires to hurricanes to a lethal virus and more. This election's year, October surprises could be many. They could rush a vaccine and skip critical testing processes. The government could mandate vaccinations, and people are not likely to respond well to that. Mail or mail-in ballots could turn up in trash bins, creating doubt on the voting system. There have even been rumors on some internet channels of domestic and foreign provocateurs creating Election Day chaos to keep people away from feeling safe going to the polls. The fact that nothing is that unimaginable is scary. If 2020 has stressed anything, it's that you need to be prepared and have some level of self-reliance and self-sustainability. Expecting the government to come in and rescue you in your time of need may not be your best option. As a prepper, have a plan when the rest are scrambling for a plan. Be ready before Election Day comes, and start preparing now in this relatively quiet time before that day. Be prepared to potentially spend up to a minimum of 11 weeks in your home following the Election Day. This would be the 11 weeks between Election Day and the Inauguration Day. That is a period where any ongoing violence and civil unrest is likely to occur. So it provides a solid base number for a conscientious prepper to work with. Number 2, top off your food and water. First and foremost, make sure your food and water supplies can sustain you for an extended period in your home or apartment. Having a specific time frame like this of 11 weeks actually provides you with a great opportunity to look at your food and water reserves with great clarity. Write out 11 weeks of meals and water consumption with the stores you have on hand. Is that enough? Does it provide you with the recommended minimal amount of water of 1 gallon per person for 78 days? I will link to other videos in the description section for you to review other videos I've done regarding water storage. As far as your food goes, will it go far enough? Does it have enough caloric content to allow you to survive even if you're a little thin at the end of those 78 days? Do you have enough water or liquid to rehydrate dried foods? If you're bugging in for an extended period of time, you're going to probably experience a pretty severe diet alteration. Having even one large multivitamin and a protein powder on hand can be a lifesaver. If you already have these items in relatively everyday use, this is simply a matter of checking, updating, and topping off your supplies. Pull out your calculator and a pen and a paper, and using the specific time frame of 11 weeks, start making some calculations. Fill in the gaps where you can, while you can, and slowly in the days preceding Election Day. Even a little more preparedness will position you better. Number 3, prep what you know you need. Beyond food and water, recent store shortages from the quarantines and lockdowns have revealed shortages of some primary items. Panic shoppers clean stores out of a personal lifetime supply of toilet paper, feminine products, pasta, rice, beans, meats, and more. Stores were forced to limit quantities per customer. Suppliers could not keep up with demand. Some products, like a spray disinfectant, are now just starting to reappear on store shelves. Perhaps you came to prepping from this event and are catching up on the items you now know you will need. Perhaps you have been into prepping for a while and recognize a possible gap in your supplies. I purchased a bidet before the pandemic, and it has come in handy saving on toilet paper. I've done videos on affordable items to have on hand to get you through an economic depression, and I would encourage you to take a look at those, as these same items can help you through a crisis of 11 weeks or longer. The real positive about prepping is, when done right, you have that little extra to get you through rough patches, and you're not just storing it away, but actually using it on a daily basis. Buy the cast iron Dutch oven, but don't just pull it out when camping. Learn to use it to cook tonight's pot roast. Buy a rocket stove for cooking, but also give it a try on your balcony to cook breakfast. Just like your food, put your items into use. Now, obviously, you won't be able to use your hatchet or axe much in an apartment setting, but look at the items you have on hand and the items you are still planning to get, and start to put them into use in your life. Even the best of items will be useless to you if you haven't taken the time to familiarize yourself with its use. You won't need every item you may have prepared for an 11-week bug-in, but take a critical look at your prepped items and use this opportunity to fill in gaps where you may be lacking. Number 4, know your polling locations. Beyond using this opportunity to bring your food, water, and prepping item supplies up to where they need to be prepared for the election day itself. Know your polling locations. If tensions continue to rise up to November 3rd, in some areas, polling locations will be hotspots for conflicts. If agitators of any kind with any ideology seek to cause chaos on election day, it will be at these locations or on the routes to these places. It wouldn't take much more than a single crazy person to initiate a situation at a polling location to trigger an event causing the two sides that are protesting each other to launch into a conflict. All it takes is one provocative action and a call to action from the leadership on either side, and you've got a real problem on your hand. Get a good local map of your area and mark the polling places around you to raise your situational awareness on that day. City metro maps are great to have on hand to mark locations. In addition to knowing where these potential hotspots are, know the routes you will need to take to get to and from your home. Will you be working on election day or trying to vote yourself? Make sure you have more than one way to get home safely. If you're planning on voting, I would encourage you to vote absentee, by mail, or as early as you can. Peak voting crowds typically begin around 11 a.m., so that is the time most likely for chaos to strike. If there is any problem at polling locations on election day, being in your home is probably going to be the safest place to be, unless you're actually next door to a polling location. Number 5, know your urban escape routes. As I mentioned, you may want to preemptively vote early and then leave the city for a few days, if it is within your capabilities to do so. Urban areas could have greater and more spontaneous flare-ups of significant chaos, whether that is from people calling themselves protesters, from outsiders driving into the city, or even foreign agitators and provocateurs. It shouldn't matter to you how the chaos is sparked as much as how insulated and safe from it you are. There can be little doubt that if this election is contested, angry citizens will pour into the streets to protest while the votes are being counted. One fire that the police or firefighters can't respond to could force you to flee your bug-in location. Make sure you have a 72-hour bag ready, filled with what you'll need to grab and survive on if you are forced to escape your urban environment. Having a grab-and-go bag is critical in most disaster situations as well. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and more, so you'll be glad you have one ready to go. Map out multiple routes and modes of leaving your urban environment should it be compromised. Have a plan to stay put, but prepare a plan to get out as well. Metro stations or areas where large groups have to congregate will decrease your safety in a civil unrest situation. Surviving any crisis or disaster really comes down to choosing the best survivable option from many options. Your survivability drops as your options drop. When you're left with just one option, your survivability is at its lowest. While you can prepare, look at your various routes and rank them based on how safe they will feel during the current crisis you are planning for. If your first choice is blocked or suddenly unsafe, you will easily be able to fall back to a safer option through this method. The chatter channels that I monitor are largely suggesting that Election Day is a great day to be on that camping trip or visiting friends or family in the suburbs, exurbs, or country. If that's an option for you and your family, I can't disagree. Barring that option, it's in your best interest to hunker down and lock down until you know your area of the country is safe. Maybe this election will go off without a hitch. Maybe America will wake up on November 4th and have an uncontested, popular, and electoral vote winner. Maybe, while still being upset with the results, everyone will accept them. Maybe, but that is a maybe that, as a prepper, you need a plan for. I would love to see a peaceful election process and a smooth transition or sustaining of power, but as you can probably see in your own communities, this isn't likely to occur. Be rationally prepared now, because by election day, it will be too late. Use this remaining time frame of 11 weeks to look at your food, water, and equipment. Prep your grab-and-go bags for your family. Know your escape routes and be safe and prepare while you can. If you found this informational useful, please feel free to like it, share it on social media, and post any feedback or any thoughts in the comments section below, as I usually try to respond within the first couple of hours of releasing the video. As always, stay safe out there.